All right, hello everybody. Welcome into Before the Sandstorm here on Gamecock Central. We are live from Tim Packer's tailgate right outside of Williams-Brice Stadium. Got a great crowd, lots and lots of Gamecock fans here as South Carolina prepares to take on the Missouri Tigers at 4 o'clock from Willie-B. Shout out to Chris Clark for that nice camera work to start things off. Joined alongside of
Producer
Wes
extraordinaire.
Mitchell. I know
Chris
we
Clark.
need to give him a title bump, not just recruiting insider, but producer as well. This is great, Wes. Love this.
No, it's cool. We're at Gamecock Park. Shout out to all of our other tailgates as well. We had to do a random draw because
There were so many good choices.
so many good choices. We didn't want to choose ourselves. Hopefully, we're coming in loud and clear. We're going right off of my cell phone as far as our signal goes. But Kendall, I'm excited. Another big game for the Gamecocks. Another big opportunity for South Carolina today as well.
Well, a huge opportunity because if South Carolina wins this game, they boost themselves to 6 wins on the season, which would make them bowl eligible. I also think, and we can get into this a little bit later, but this game has a lot to do with what's going to happen over the next few weeks for South Carolina. I think a win today over Missouri obviously sets them up against Vanderbilt very well, and then gives them a lot of confidence heading into Florida in 2 weeks. Don't want to look too far ahead, but Wes, for you, as long as you've covered this team, how important is a game like today for South Carolina?
Yeah, I think it's another swing game. And look no further than the last 2 weeks. I mean, look at the conversation around the South Carolina football program prior to that Kentucky game. Look at the conversation prior to even the A&M game. And now look what the conversation is now. So if you lose swing games, then, you have to deal not only with your fan base and what they have to say about you, negativity out there, but also the national media. This is a program that is trying to put itself back in the forefront, back in the conversation, really. So you win 2 swing games, and all of a sudden, people are talking about the Gamecocks again. This is another swing game today. It's kind of interesting now. Kendall, Carolina comes at it from the other side of this. They are favored. They've won a couple of SEC games in a row, several games in a row overall. And now they have this opportunity to show they can deal with some success as opposed to coming in as the underdog.
Yeah, and Shane Beamer talked about it this week. How do you handle coming into this game being ranked for the first time in 4 years? South Carolina 25th in the AP poll. First time since 2018 they have been ranked. And he said, we talk about it, but we don't necessarily talk about wanting to lose that ranking. We talk about wanting to continue to get better, to move up, to prove that, yes, we do belong in this AP poll, because some people were saying this week, South Carolina shouldn't be there. So they've got a little bit of a chip on their shoulder, something to prove. But facing a Missouri team, West, that they have struggled against over the last couple of years, 3-game streak for losses for South Carolina against Missouri. This team coming in here today for the Tigers, they've got a really good defense. Their offense hasn't looked great. Give a little preview of the Tigers for those watching.
Yeah, a third straight team that you would say is kind of a defensive-oriented group. It's kind of weird to say that. You have an offensive-oriented coach in Eli Drinkwitz with Missouri, but they have struggled offensively. And this is a Missouri team that struggled defensively last year. They brought in a new defensive coordinator. He has very quickly, flipped the switch there. They played very, very well. That's been a combination of developing guys that have returned and got some experience while also going into the portal and getting some guys who can come in and help as well. I think this is another game, Kendall. Points will be at a premium. You're probably going to have some frustrating moments with the South Carolina offense. Again, I think it's important to set those expectations. That's not always on the Carolina offense. Sometimes it's just about who you're playing. Sometimes it's about the fact that you're playing a good defense. These guys are going to be in the right place, and they create a lot of negative plays. So I think on both sides, we've seen Carolina's defensive line create a lot of pressure the last few weeks. Missouri has created a lot of pressure all year long. So there's going to be some negative plays in this game. The key will be to balance that out if you're South Carolina with some explosive plays, some chunk plays. And I think 24 points or so probably wins this game. I'd be very surprised if it's like an offensive shootout. The only way I see the score getting up into maybe the 30s would be if, I believe one of your predictions, defensive score, special team score. There'd have to be a lot of big plays that sort of swing the offenses either into scoring position or just some direct defensive or special team scores.
Well, something that's helped to boost South Carolina's offense is the run game. Marshawn Lloyd has been fantastic all year long. How has Missouri's defense been at stopping the run game? And Spencer Rattler has been throwing just a lot of perimeter screen passes. Nothing too crazy has been asked of him over the last few weeks. Do you think that we'll see Spencer get to air out the ball a little bit more today?
Yeah, I think they're going to have to remain balanced. Like, obviously, we have seen that the recipe for success is to get Marshawn Lloyd the ball. Now, you can't really, as much as fans might want you to, you can't be stubborn and just hand him the football every single time. Like that's impossible. I think him getting the ball 20, maybe 25 times, depending on how the game's playing out, is your recipe. But I think this is a game, especially early on, maybe you have to go a little play action on first downs. You almost have to use him as a decoy, and I think this is a game you have to kind of throw when they expect you to run and run when they expect you to throw, because that's the way you're going to slow down that Missouri rush. If you just let them kind of anticipate what you're doing, pin their ears back, get after you, it's probably going to be a long day. So early on, Carolina's throwing on first down. If they're going play action, if they take some shot plays, you're probably going to be saying, well, why aren't they giving the ball to Marshawn Lloyd? I think there's a reason for that. They're doing everything they can to try to slow down that rush. I think the screen game, they've been very, very good at getting Marshawn Lloyd the ball on screens. He's made some big plays out of that. I would expect more of that today. Again, not going to be a high-scoring game, I don't think, but if they can hit a couple plays down the field, that obviously could serve to open up other things for them.
So, Wes, we do this every week, but I want to change it up a little bit. I usually ask you for key players, but today I want you to give me a key player on offense, a key player on defense, and then a key special teams player. These players need to obviously do well in order for South Carolina to have the best chance to beat Missouri today.
Wow, you're putting me on the spot here. We don't.
I have my ideas already.
We don't plan this show.
No, we don't. I'm making up these questions as we go. We showed up here like 10 minutes ago.
You want offense, defense, or special teams first?
You can decide. That's on you.
Okay, that was my way of stalling. Okay, offense. We used to have a rule. Anybody but Spencer, like you can't say Spencer Rattler. But I think we're past that now.
I do too, yeah.
Spencer Rattler is my answer. 7 is my answer. They need him to have a good day. Again, like we said last week, that doesn't, Kendall, necessarily mean 500 yards of offense. Doesn't mean he has to have a massive day. It's just more about being efficient, not turning the football over. Missouri is a team that will beat themselves. They have proven that. Carolina can't be kind of, if they want to give Carolina the game, they got to take it. They can't turn the ball over the way they have the last few weeks. So Rattler on offense. Who's your offensive person?
Well, I'm not going to say Spencer Rattler because you already said him. So I'm going Juice Wells. I think Juice has had some really good games this season. I know he has. And if Spencer Rattler does well, he's going to be connecting with receivers. One of those who has really shown up, especially in the Arkansas game earlier this year, early against Georgia State. Juice Wells, very, very talented receiver. I think he's the guy that Spencer needs to be looking out for today. And in order for South Carolina to have some big explosive plays, it's not just on the quarterback to make the throw, it's on the receiver to make the catch.
Oh, we're back. All right, we're back. Jordan Burch is my answer defensively. I think Jordan Burch had his best game as a Gamecock last week. The whole D-line played pretty well, but I thought Jordan was very disruptive. And this is a Missouri offense that likes to run the ball sort of to the outside, like a stretch play, outside zone. It's very important for the guys playing on the outside of Carolina's defensive line to cut them off and keep them from getting outside, to set the edge. So I think this is another game where Jordan Burch, maybe it's not even necessarily a huge statistical game, but he's going to have to play well, play his assignment. That really goes for both edge/defensive end, whatever you want to call them. Both those guys, but you said one person, so I went with Burch.
I'm going Darius Rush. I talked about him earlier this week on 107.5. He had a great game last week. Massive play to start things off for South Carolina. I think this week he's going to have a big 6. That was my prediction. I don't know exactly who's going to have it, but y'all made me pick. And so I picked Darius Rush. He's had a great couple of games over the last few weeks. I think this week that's going to continue. His confidence is high. He's been a guy that's been around for a while. He's probably hungry for that win over Missouri finally. And I think that's going to show today. Special teams, though, Wes, this has been my hardest one to pick. I have 2, so I'm hoping that you pick one of mine so I can pick the other one. And I think it's obvious who the 2 are.
Is it obvious?
It's obvious to me.
Okay. My first instinct was Kai Kroger. Kai Kroger may be my favorite punter in South Carolina history.
He's so good and so underappreciated.
And Kai Kroger has some swag to be a punter. I feel like the arrow thing that he does, that's pretty sweet. I think Kai Kroger secretly wants to go be the quarterback, but
I had a dream last night actually that they did one of those plays, the trick plays where Kai ends up throwing it downfield.
Well, if that happens today, what did they complete it?
Yeah, I mean they've done it. Kai, I think, is 3 for 3
all
in
time,
pass
yes.
attempts.
He
is.
We've seen so many
about
trick
the
plays.
Missouri game last
Apparently,
night.
you work too much. Apparently, it sounds like. But Kendall, I'm gonna go Mitch Jeter. Was that your 2? Or?
Yes,
Okay.
He was supposed to pick 1 and he picked 2.
No, I'm picking Mitch Jeter. I'm saying Kai Kroger would be an easy pick, but I'm picking Mitch Jeter. I think Missouri. I'm hoping I'm right on this, y'all. I didn't do my research here. I think Missouri is pretty good in the kicking game as well. I'm sure someone will tell me I'm wrong if I'm not, or if I am wrong. But Mitch Jeter, potentially low-scoring game.
All the points you can get.
All the points you can get, and Mitch Jeter has been great. So,
yes.
But Kai Kroger would be a good answer too.
Well, then I'll pick Kai as my answer. I mean, Kai is one of those guys who has just been great all season, as has Mitch. Just so impressed with them, especially Mitch. He comes in after a guy like Parker White. He's got a ton of expectations on him because Parker was so good, so consistent. Mitch has been great this entire year, but Kai puts the ball exactly where the Gamecocks need it to be. Time after time, flips the field. He is one of those guys who I feel like is so underrated because he's the punter for South Carolina, but he genuinely does such a good job week in, week out. And I think those little things, we've seen it on special teams, they can make a world of a difference for South Carolina, and he's one of those players that really contributes to that.
Well, Pete Limbo likes to talk about hidden yardage, and a lot of times that is when, your punter flips the field. An offense that has struggled for Carolina, we know at times. So when you have a punter that can maybe basically steal 10 or 15 yards compared to what the other team did in their punt game, then I think that goes a long way. Certainly, Kendall, with, again, what could be a low-scoring game, your punter could be massive in this game. And Kai, it's fantastic. We have
the sound effects.
Yes, we do.
So
Kendall
exciting.
is getting so excited over here.
Well, I haven't been to a tailgate in years. So.
You gonna use the funnel later for the tailgate?
That's you. I gotta work. I'm working this game, so we've got a ton of content coming out on Gamecock Central today. Myself, Colin Taylor, Michael Sauls will all be there reporting. They'll be writing.
Reporting live.
All done. Yeah, we'll be doing some live
and
stuff. Gamecock vlogging after the sandstorm, everything. But Wes, let's do some score predictions, shall we?
Let's do it. This is the part where
write your score predictions in the comments, everybody.
This is the part where if we had some great production value here, you can. There's Chris Clark behind us. You could play. You could play me getting my prediction wrong last
How are you? I know. We really need to up the quality. But Wes did get the prediction wrong. Who got it right, though?
Kendall
Can we get a name?
Kendall Smith. Yes.
So let's hear this week.
Okay.
You guys honestly might want Wes to predict South Carolina to lose.
Maybe. I'm going Gamecocks. You're going Gamecocks too. Everybody. Did anybody on Gamecock Central pick against South Carolina?
Did Colin?
Did he? I don't
know.
No. I think everybody picked South Carolina. That's scary, a little bit. Tommy is right on YouTube. That's the score right there. What's that say?
27-17.
You have 20/20 vision, and Tommy is correct. That's my score. That's going to be the score. Gamecock score.
You're confident in that. I've got 24-17, South Carolina on top. I think this game isn't going to be the prettiest of games. I do think there will be frustrating moments for South Carolina fans. Again, Missouri has been a team that's given South Carolina a lot of headaches over the last few years, but I think the Gamecocks are finally going to rid themselves of whatever problems Missouri has caused over the last few years, come away with the win today. And not to be dramatic and not to say that this game is like the end all be all, because realistically, South Carolina will most likely beat Vanderbilt next weekend, so they'll make their way to bowl eligibility in some way, shape, or form. I'm very confident in that. But if they win today, I think that sets them up great. If you're going into Florida, say winning this week and then winning next week, you're 7-2. That feels a lot better than the alternative.
Yeah, so your 24-17 pick, you're saying you don't have any faith in Mitch Jeter? I have him getting another field goal than you did.
It's not about Mitch Jeter. It's about the offense being able to get down the field to put Mitch Jeter in the position where he can kick a field goal.
Okay, valid. I got you. Valid. Yeah, everybody has Carolina winning. I do. Michael says close at halftime. South Carolina pulls away. I can see that. I mean, y'all know how it is. It's very difficult to predict how a game's actually going to play out. If you have a big play early on, like South Carolina's had the last 2 weeks, then they can maybe win this game going away. If they come out a little bit sluggish, it is a little bit of a sluggish day right now. I feel like just the vibe. I don't know, Kendall. If they come out a little bit sluggish, then it could be one of those games where it feels like Carolina's in control, but Missouri's just kind of hanging around, and you just sort of have to gut it out, I think.
Yeah, that's kind of how it went last week, I think, for at least the back half of the game. I mean, there were times where I felt like Texas A&M was kind of in control of the game. South Carolina held on, but they started off so strong, and then it just got closer and closer and closer, and it just had to be one of those ones you had to just, like, hang on to with everything you had. And hopefully that's not the case this week. We always enjoy it when it's a little bit more of a decisive win.
That would be nice.
It's nice, for sure.
About 60 degrees, by the way, Brian.
Yes.
That's my guess.
Yeah, it's probably about 60. I think around kickoff it's supposed to be about 65. Cloud cover,
Overcast.
Very strong right now.
You're a weather lady now.
Yeah, I had to do weather for school. So, yeah, it's an exciting day.
What's the dew point today?
Oh, God, I don't know. I'm not a meteorologist. I just stepped in as a weather person. But, yeah, it's the second to last game here at Williams-Brice for the year. Makes me a little sad because I'm a senior at South Carolina. So it's hard to believe that it's already the second to last game. South Carolina at home against Missouri today, next week on the road against Vanderbilt, then they're on the road against Florida, back at home against Tennessee, and then rounding out the season on the road in Greenville. Clemson, South Carolina, same thing. Anyways, Wes, I think that might do it. This is great. I mean, I'm so impressed. They've got the TVs behind us, the full tailgate. The food smells amazing. I'm very impressed.
We're about to steal some food, by the way.
I'm very
Don't
impressed.
tell them that yet. But, yeah, this is cool. This is awesome. Hey, Before the Sandstorm has been at the Market on Main Cockaboose, Market Party Express. It's been at Still Hands. It's been at Soda City. It has been live on Zoom. Again, not near as cool. And now it's been live from Gamecock Park.
Yeah,
this was cool.
Maybe we'll be live from Broadway next week. We'll see how it goes if all things go according to plan in Nashville. But for the last game, let us know where we should go. Maybe we'll come to another tailgate because we did have so great.
If Carolina is 8-2, when Tennessee comes to town, we're going to build a stage over there and do it live from. We're going to do it live from the actual Gamecock Walk.
Oh, okay.
From the middle of it.
We'll have to be screaming because it's so loud, but I'm down. All right, you heard it here first. 8-2 South Carolina Gamecocks.
They're going to be walking beside.
Do it live
beside us
from Gamecock Walk. Wes, I think that's going to do it for this edition of Before the Sandstorm. This has been fun. I love being out here in the thick of things, for sure.
Let's go tailgate.
Yeah, you go tailgate. I'm going to work. You can keep up with all things South Carolina Gamecocks. All things on the game today as the Gamecocks take on the Missouri Tigers at 4 p.m. over on GamecockCentral.com. Follow us on all of our social medias. We'll be posting all day long at Gamecock Central on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, the whole 9 yards. Follow us individually on all of our Twitter accounts because we've got stuff posted there as well. Wes Mitchell, Chris Clark, Colin Taylor, Michael Sauls, and myself. We've got you covered. It's going to be a fun day. South Carolina taking on Missouri at 4 p.m. He's Wes Mitchell. I'm Kendall Smith. This is Tim Packer's Tailgate. It's the best. Look how cute.
Yes, we got a little Gamecock fan.
Baby Gamecock fan. Absolutely adorable. That's the future generation of Gamecocks right here. She's going to watch South Carolina take down Missouri today at 4. Thanks, everybody, for joining. This has been Before the Sandstorm. Have a safe and happy